Wow, 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 wow. Those two ladies got into it. Crikey. That's as bad as my Australian accent's going to get, folks. I mean, that was just fiery fireworks going on over there between Yassmin and Jacqui. Now, I will have to say this in regards to Yassmin saying that she was about a year and a half old when she came from Sudan to Australia, as a refugee. That was probably the greatest thing, and she'd probably admit this, the greatest thing that could ever happen to her and her family, that she was able to grow and thrive and be a part of a Western democratic society and be able to practice the religion of Islam, which is what she wants to do. And that's perfectly fine. I guess the fact of the matter here is that Jacqui is saying is that she probably feels, and I don't know everything about Yassmin, but she may want to maybe imply that some parts of Sharia law ought to be adhered to. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. In Islam, and she was correct in saying this thing, she brought this thing up herself, Yassmin, by basically saying that in Islam, the thing is that you follow the laws of the land in which you live in. And Muslims talk about this and they bring this up all the time. But then when the stuff hits the fan, everybody claims what? Minority rights. My minority rights are being exploited. I don't have any minority rights. Everybody's not letting me do what I want to do. So what happened to the fact that you just said that you're supposed to follow the laws of the land in which you live in and adhere to those? Why do you need another set of laws to follow? You want to follow those? Follow those in your own home. Follow those in terms of your, at the mosque. Follow them, and you can pass those down to your children and teach them those things. But if there's some type of a difference between the Sharia law and the law of the land, you've got to follow the law of the land. Unless, of course, for example, people always say, yeah, but that's what happens if they make a law that you can't have kosher food or halal food and you got to eat, food that you're not supposed. No one's going to do that. Straw man that stuff so often. And then she talked about the fact that, the Donald Trump issue with the ban of people coming from Sudan for 3 months. I thought it was for 6 months, actually, because it was same exact, whatever you want to call it. It was never called a Muslim ban during the Obama monarchy. Oh, no. I'd like to know where Yassmin was at that time when Obama had implemented, his State Department had implemented the same exact thing, that they were going to put a hold on visas being given to people from those 7 countries, predominantly, Muslim countries. Trump comes into office, exact same thing. All of a sudden now they call it the Muslim ban, and he's calling it a Muslim ban. And the next thing you know is we've got protests, we've got demonstrations, we've got riots. People are not allowing people to go into airports, they're marching in the street, they're preventing traffic flows, causing all types of commotion, going to downtown New York, protesting in front of the Trump Tower. None of this happened during the Obama monarchy, none of it. Pretty hypocritical. And this wasn't just from the people who were advocating, okay, that the Muslim rights were being abrogated or that Muslims from these countries, couldn't come. Donald Trump has every freaking right. Every president, prime minister, head of state, no matter where they're at, has a right to say, you know what? If they think that there's a security threat, a national security threat, what are we going to do? We're going to wait to vet these people based on what those governments are telling us. And then Yassmin brought up the point and said, hey, all these, these security people, these security departments, these security systems, security companies, security within governments all over the world are saying that this really hinders everything. It doesn't enhance anything at all. Right. So me, as an American, my president is supposed to listen to the security advice of people outside this country. Hell, folks, we're not even getting the right security advice from inside this country because of the deep state. And you want us to rely on the security advice of people outside this country on how to make us safe over here? You must be effing nuts. Absolutely. Now, Jacqui, to her part, I guess if she wants to argue the fact about Sharia law, she probably needs to go ahead and study it a little bit more or whatever, but I understand exactly what she's thinking about. There should absolutely be no Sharia law in any Western country that is not a Muslim majority country. Now, Muslim majority country, there's over 50 of them. Listen, if they have Sharia in their things, and their Sharia law differs from one place to another. There's Sharia law in Saudi Arabia, which you probably know, women are not allowed to drive a car. Well, I'd like to ask, what type of cars were there during the Bedouin times, few thousand, 1,400 years ago? How many BMWs and Mercedes and Lexuses and Acuras and Hondas, Bentleys? How many were they during the time, of the Bedouin Arabs and during the time when Islam was spreading across Saudi Arabia? How many were there during Christianity? They were during Jesus' time, during Moses' time. But all of a sudden now that's Sharia law? God said that? God told Muslims that, or Saudi Arabia, it's in the Holy Scripture that women can't drive? The man-made laws, and that's what happens, folks. The countries, they become misogynist. It's culture. Culture is dictated. And in these Muslim countries, as in a lot of Western democracies, who dictates the culture? Who's dictating the laws? Who's out there in terms of places of power? Men. Yes, men. Chauvinistic men. That's right. Misogynistic men. We're the ones that are making, well, not me, not you guys, but, the people that we elect. And so then there's culture that drives this as well. And some of it, yes, you could consider to be backward culture because they don't give women equal rights, although the law and everything says that they should have it. But that's culture. And to change culture means you've got to start, young. But the problem is, who are you going to start with? Because when they teach the young people, they're teaching the old stuff to the young people, and the young people then learn it and continue it on. So that's what's happening. But like I reiterate again, the shouting match, between these two, that was quite forceful. And, Jacqui's got to basically, I think, stay, go to those areas where she thinks the Sharia law, if she thinks it's being applied or people are saying that this is the Sharia law that needs to be enacted in Australia or other places, that's where she needs to basically say no. And a quick answer to that is absolutely no Sharia law of any kind, shape, or form, no Sharia councils, no Sharia. Now, if two people individually or a group of people religiously, Muslims, they want to go to somebody themselves, a Muslim lawyer, and within the confines of that, come to an agreement and say, we want to deal with this based on Muslim law, then if they both consent to that, I don't see anything wrong with it. But you're not imposing that now on society. And that shouldn't be an obligatory thing that you have to do. If they both feel that they can get that thing done, like, bartering or some type of, let's say, husband-wife situation, custody or whatever, if they both agree that they want to allow Sharia law to handle it, they can do it, I think, privately within that thing. I don't think I would have a problem with that. But they adhere to it, they sign off on it, and they say, this is what we're going to be doing. But if one of those people say, no, we're not doing it this way, I want to go to an Australian court, I want to have adjudicated by an Australian judge, I want to go through the laws of the land, then absolutely. And by one party saying, no, you can't, this is a religious matter, it's got to be determined through Sharia law in Australia or a European Western country, I don't agree with that at all. And I think that's what Jacqui is basically talking about. And I don't even think that Yassmin is talking about that. I don't think so. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasir, and if you haven't done so already, we'd love for you to subscribe to the channel, like, share, and follow us. You all know what to do. Check out our other video links above and below. Put your comments down below. We'd love for you to share your thoughts. Whose side are you on? What do you think about Sharia law? My final thought, as always, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.